interesting, since there were 130 gay soldiers in the first Gulf War. All their commanders knew they were gay. They needed them, so they let them go risk their lives, and as soon as the war was over, they threw them out. That's all I needed to know. The Pentagon admitted that. That's all I needed to know. I'm proud to say that my first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, John Saakashvili, in this presidential campaign, wrote an op-ed piece saying, Bill Clinton was right, I was wrong, it's time we stop this. Everybody ought to have a chance to serve their country. Then I passed that crime bill and the Brady bill, and we banned assault weapons and required a background check for guns. I didn't have any problem doing that because I grew up in Arkansas shooting guns. I knew how to talk to hunters. I knew I could convince them I wasn't going to take their gun away. Little did I know how many members of Congress there were who represented rural districts who didn't have a clue about how to talk to hunters. And we lost 12 or 14 seats in the midterm elections in '94 on the gun issue alone. And then they accused me of trying to have the government take over the health care system, which wasn't true, but the organized interest groups had enough to beat it. And they played on the cynicism of government that was still pervasive. Government would wreck a two-car parade. So I got reelected because things worked out all right. And by 2000, now look, remember this. This is really important. This is what you're watching tomorrow. The Republicans still had a cultural base that was bigger than ours when I was elected. They had a 45% base, we had a 40% base. Sometime in my second term, we evened out again at 45 to 45. And that's why the country became more partisan, because throughout the 20th century, each party had a base of about 40%, and you had to sound like you had half good sense to get the other 20% to dance with you. But once it's 45 to 40, think about that. Then we had to get twice as many undecided votes as they did to win. That's why they usually won. Then, in my second term, because America grew more racially and religiously and culturally diverse and more tolerant, and because the country was working under democratic policies, our bases evened out. Yeah. They still had a bigger base than they should have had on the cultural and social issues. And that's why you had the dead heat in 2000, and why in 2004, notwithstanding the fact that we had never replaced a president during an armed conflict, President Bush had the smallest re-election margin since Woodrow Wilson in 1916, because we were even. Then, what happened? Finally, by 2006, we were thinking again, and had gotten past the politics of trauma occasioned by 9/11, right? Yeah. And we had 5 years, for the first time since the rise of President Reagan, and really since the Nixon campaign, 5 years when we got to see what they would do if they had both the White House and the Congress. And so, just like in 74 when the Democrats won, or in 66 when the Republicans won the Congress seats before Nixon was elected, we won the Congress. In 2006, when we won the Congress, I knew then that the presidential race would be determined by who won the Democratic nomination. Because the American people had finally seen what they had been promised since 1980 and before, and they saw how it would work, and they said, thank you very much, I don't think so. And meanwhile, we had become a more homogenous, more unified country, a more tolerant country. So, tomorrow, when Barack Obama becomes President of the United States, he will have the kind of opportunity that normally comes along with these big political shifts once every 30 or 40 years. He will be able to do the things I proposed and couldn't do. We're going to get health care reform.
Yes!
And we're going to be able to have, over the long run, a decent tax system, and the Congress doesn't think that fighting global warming is crazy like they did when I was president. We're going to get a new energy independence policy. And I want to compliment Governor Beebe. I think Arkansas's got as good a start on that as anybody. But that means that all of us have an enormous responsibility.
He's not there.
So, compared to when I took office, the economy's even worse, but the politics are better. So here's where we are. First, you must be patient. This world has lost $27 trillion in wealth in the last 5 months. That's twice America's annual income, and we've got about 22% of the world's income. So we nearly lost half the world's income, 4 months. The consequences of that are still playing out. But he has appointed smart people who will make good decisions. I especially like that State Department. They're good people. Second, you must never forget that what the American people have done is not move to the left, they move together. They voted for a communitarian approach, which says simply that we're going up or down together, we got to solve our problems together, we got to share our opportunities together, and our differences make life more interesting. You think this crowd would look like this 40 years ago? No. This is a much more interesting country we live in. Right? But our common humanity matters more than our differences. And whether Hillary and the new president can make peace in the Middle East depends on whether we can convince them that their common humanity matters more than their differences. Whether we can get people to stop killing each other in Darfur. Whether we can persuade the Iranians that they don't want to, cause a horrible conflict in the Middle East with a nuclear program. All this stuff basically depends upon whether we can have the communitarian idea take hold in the world the way it has captured our imagination. That's why this is important. Yes, Barack Obama fulfills the dream of Martin Luther King that our children should be judged for the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Yes, that is of profound historic significance. But the future significance is America is getting one of its periodic second chances to make itself anew. By this. You should be thrilled by it. And tomorrow, just remember what I said. Right before he talks, take a glance down there at the Lincoln Memorial and know that the spirit of Martin Luther King is standing there with a big old smile on his face. Thank you, and God bless you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the 4th District in Arkansas, proudly serving in his 5th term, our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, Congressman Mike Ross.